Christmas dinner was supposed to be warm, joyful, full of laughter and food and soft carols in the background. Ours felt more like a board meeting with side dishes. Everything was symmetrical. Forks aligned. Candles center-placed. Platters curated like we were expecting a Michelin review. My mom hovered around like a stressed-out wedding planner, checking everyone's plates like they were contracts. And my dad? My dad sat at the head of the table with a full glass of wine and an empty capacity for grace. He wore his signature, disappointed in the world, expression and looked at everyone like they owed him a PowerPoint presentation on gratitude. Me? I was at the far end of the table, again, squeezed between the toddler booster chair and the cousin who once called me the fixer guy, and then asked if I'd install a ceiling fan for free. It had been this way for years. The pecking order was unshakable. Claire, my sister, had her usual seat 3 spots down from Dad, as if proximity to his ego was genetically earned. She wore her new silk dress, probably something Dad paid for, and kept talking about their upcoming family ski trip. I wasn't invited, of course. But they spoke about it like I was just a +1 who hadn't RSVP'd. Claire sipped champagne and talked about how this year has been so transformational. She said that word like it was trademarked. I had brought a bottle of wine. A nice one. They never opened it. Dad uncorked something. Better. I sat quietly, smiled politely, and told myself, again, just get through the evening. Then, somewhere between the overcooked ham and the passive-aggressive salad toss, Dad raised his glass and said, "To those who've made this year memorable. To the ones who brought something to the table." There was a pause. My heart did a weird little flutter, like maybe, he was about to finally acknowledge me. Then he looked at me. Right at me. Glass still raised. And said it. "You bring nothing to this table." Laughter paused. Even Claire blinked. Silence. Long, heavy. He didn't even flinch. Just sipped his wine and started carving turkey like he'd commented on the weather. It took me a second. Just long enough for the words to slap me in slow motion. "You bring nothing to this table." Not even angry. Just casual. Like it was obvious. I stood up. No grand speech. No storming out. No smashing a plate and yelling, "I'm done!" like in some movie. I just stood. My mom glanced up and gave me that tight-lipped smile that said, "Don't ruin the vibe." Claire was already turning back to her phone. Dad didn't even notice I'd pushed my chair in. I grabbed my coat off the back hook. The one by the door. The one no one else used because it was the ugly coat hook. I slid it on. Buttoned slowly. My fingers were steady. Too steady. "Where are you going?" Claire asked without looking up. "Somewhere my presence isn't optional," I said. And then I left. Not out of rage. Out of clarity. Snow crunched underfoot. The sky was a deep, bitter black. The kind of cold that felt like it pressed against your ribs. I walked to my car. Sat in silence. No music. No calls. Just the buzz of rage building in the quiet. The thing is, this wasn't about one comment. It never is. It was about years of sitting at a table I helped pay for, literally, and still being treated like I didn't exist unless something needed fixing. Growing up, I was the quiet one. The one who unclogged the sink, replaced the batteries, fixed the router. Claire got applause for breathing. I got, "Can you help with the Wi-Fi?" When I started trade school, Dad said, "At least you'll have something to fall back on." When I built my HVAC business, he said, "Just make sure you're not overextending." When I paid off their property taxes one year, without telling them, he said, "That's what family's for." Like I was a subscription service. And now? Now I brought nothing to the table. I sat there in the car until the windows fogged. Then, finally, I took out my phone. Opened the Notes app. Typed one word. Enough. Then I started listing everything I'd done for them. Every dollar, every favor, every call answered at 1 a.m. to fix something, drive someone, cover a bill. It wasn't for drama. It wasn't for revenge. It was for clarity. Because next time, I wouldn't be the one fixing things. The apartment was cold when I got in, not from the weather, just the kind of cold that happens when you walk away from a table where no one asked if you were okay. I tossed my coat over the chair, sat at the edge of the bed, and stared at the floor. The wine bottle I brought to dinner, unopened, sat in my bag like a metaphor. It should have stung. But it didn't. What hurt was that it didn't even surprise me. I used to think if I worked hard enough, kept my head down, showed up when they needed something, eventually, I'd earn a place. I'd be seen. Instead, I became the family's uncredited tech support, ATM, moving crew, and occasionally, the villain, if something didn't go their way. But something shifted in me tonight. Something I can't unshift. So I made tea. Sat at the table, my table, with a yellow notepad and started listing out the things I'd done for them over the past 3 years. $3,400 for Mom's dental bridge. Paid in full. She thanked Claire for emotional support. $2,100 in property taxes when Dad's check got lost in processing. $600 in emergency groceries during the pandemic, delivered to their door. A full HVAC replacement at Claire's condo. She Instagrammed it with the caption, "Look what Dad did for me." Countless favors. Endless patience. And then there was the card. 2 years ago, Dad had asked if I could, temporarily, add him to my credit card to boost his score after a dumb refinancing move. "Just for a few weeks," he said. "Won't even use it." That was 97 weeks ago. Since then? He used it more than I did. Ski equipment. Designer gifts. Golf gear. A winery subscription box I never saw arrive at his house, but Claire posted it monthly like clockwork. He never once acknowledged the charges. No offer to remove himself. No reimbursement. I let it slide. Why? Because I kept thinking, maybe this is how I finally matter. Maybe this is how I buy my seat at the table. Turns out, the only thing I bought was their silence. Until tonight. I opened my laptop. Logged into my banking portal. My hands didn't even shake. I clicked into the credit card dashboard, saw the most recent charge, $312. 49 ski lift passes. Right under that, pending reservation for a luxury chalet. In my name. But booked with his details. Of course. No discussion. No text. Just entitlement, like the card came preloaded with family rights. I clicked. Freeze card. "Are you sure you want to freeze this card?" "Yes. All active users will lose access immediately." Good. Done. Next, I logged into the chalet reservation portal. The one Claire wouldn't shut up about during dinner. "Oh my God, this place is so exclusive," she said, like she personally handcrafted the bedsheets. I pulled up the booking. January 3rd to 7th, luxury ski chalet. Paid for in full. Deposit marked non-refundable unless cancelled within 12 hours. I checked the timestamp. Still within the window. Click. Click. Cancel reservation. Refund requested. Confirmed. A digital receipt hit my inbox seconds later. Like a bow on a gift I finally gave myself. It wasn't about the money. It was never about the money. It was about the principle. The math was simple. They spent my money without respect, and I spent my time waiting for respect that never came. Now, I was done waiting. I closed the laptop, stood up, and turned off the lights. Tomorrow would come with noise, I knew that. The calls. The confusion. The passive aggression disguised as disappointment. But tonight? Tonight was silent. And in that silence, for the first time in years, I felt full. Not of food. Not of bitterness. Just full of clarity. I woke up late the next morning. No alarm, no schedule, no expectations. Just the soft hum of the radiator, the smell of stale peppermint tea, and the faint headache you get from finally sleeping without tension. For a moment I forgot. Then my phone buzzed. And buzzed again. And again. I squinted at the screen. 56 missed calls. My lock screen looked like it had been struck by lightning. Missed calls from Dad 18, Mom 15, Claire 21, and one from Uncle Ron, which was weird because I'm pretty sure he still thinks my name is Tyler. Then the texts rolled in like a tsunami. I didn't open any right away. I just watched them come in, line by line, like an over-caffeinated telethon of chaos. The family group chat, the Hollis, yes, it's still named that, had 91 unread messages. I let it sit there for a second, like a cup of too hot coffee. Just watching the steam rise. Enjoying the stillness before the burn. Then, finally, I opened it. Claire. Did you freeze the card? What is wrong with you? Mom. I'm so disappointed. This was supposed to be for the family. Claire again, in separate chaotic bursts. The chalet is gone. You ruined it. A string of angry emojis followed. Claire likes to express herself like she's defusing a bomb made of glitter. Dad chimed in a few lines down. Call me. Now. This isn't how we handle things in this family. You've made a mistake. Then came the cherry on top, a message from Uncle Ron, who, I kid you not, wrote. Typical. Which was hilarious, considering the last time I saw him, he asked me how community college was going. I have a licensed business with 4 trucks. Thanks, Ron. I didn't reply. I just scrolled. Claire ranted for 10 straight messages. Most of them in caps. At some point she typed, "You don't even ask AI." As if that was a moral failing. Mom tried her classic guilt trip. "You always do this when we try to include you." Which was rich coming from someone who, accidentally, left me off the RSVP list for Claire's graduation brunch, then said, "Oh, I thought you were working." No one mentioned the part where they used my name and money to book the trip. That detail got memory hold real fast. I made coffee. The cheap, instant kind. No fancy frother. No cinnamon foam. Just hot, bitter, and perfectly appropriate. Sat on the edge of the counter. Scrolled back to the beginning of the chaos. The first message in the group chat came in at 7:45 a.m. when Dad's card got declined trying to upgrade his ski gear. Then, at 8:03, Claire got the chalet cancellation email. She forwarded it with the subject line, "Who did this?" By 8:07, the chat was on fire. By 8:10, they had decided it was me. Claire even wrote, "Was it you?" No emojis this time. Just raw panic. I sipped my coffee and let the warmth hit my chest. Didn't answer. Then, at 8:21 a.m., Dad sent one final message. Just one line. "You've made your point. Hope it was worth it." I stared at it for a few seconds. Let it sink in. And then? I laughed. Like actual laugh out loud, almost drop the mug kind of laugh. The kind that starts in your throat and rolls out without permission. Because for years I'd been told I brought nothing to the table. And now? Now that I've left? The whole table flipped. By noon, the chaos had quieted, but the silence felt strategic. You could almost feel them regrouping. Drafting apologies that weren't really apologies. Plying how to spin it so I was the problem for reacting, not them for pushing. That's the game, right? You get hit. You flinch. They say, "Why are you being so dramatic?" And then they offer you a band-aid for the bruise they say doesn't exist. At 12:47 p.m., my phone rang again. Not Dad. Not Claire. Mom. I stared at it. She usually texts. Calls are rare, and when they happen, it's either about money or drama I'm supposed to fix. I let it ring twice before answering. "Hello?" I said flatly. She exhaled. "You didn't need to go that far." "No." "Hi." "No." "How are you?" Just that tone. The same one she used when I dropped a glass at age 10. Not anger, just disappointment dipped in condescension. "Didn't I?" I replied. She paused. I could picture her in the kitchen, pacing, clutching the phone like it was a leash. "We didn't think you'd mind," she said. "You never said anything." "I shouldn't have to. You're part of this family." "Am I?" Another silence. Then the classic move. "You always make things harder than they need to be." And just like that, I was 12 again, asking why Claire got a laptop for Christmas and I got a used backpack. And hearing she needed it more. Don't be jealous. I could have hung up. But I wanted to hear how far she'd go. So I stayed quiet. You could have just talked to us, she said finally. You didn't have to ruin the trip. Ruin the trip. Not cancel the booking made with your credit card without your consent. Not finally stand up for yourself. No, ruin the trip. Because for them, the trip wasn't about togetherness. It was about optics. Claire had already announced it on Instagram. Snowy escape with the fam snowflake skier sparkling heart. It had likes. Comments. Hashtags. Now, the photo would have to come down. And that was the real offense. You remember the sweater? I said suddenly. There was a pause. What? The Christmas sweater I gave Dad. 4 years ago. Hand-stitched. Took me a week. Vaguely. I laughed, bitter. I spent every night sewing that thing after work. He wore it once. Claire said it was ugly. 2 days later, it was in the Goodwill box by the garage. She said nothing. He told your neighbors Claire made it. I added. Said she spent hours on it. It was just a sweater. She mumbled. And there it was. Everything, reduced to just a sweater. Just a ski trip. Just a card. Just your feelings. Just your silence. They called it love when Claire gave them something shiny. They called it obligation when I gave them something useful. I ended the call without saying goodbye. Not out of spite, out of preservation. Because I knew what came next. They'd flip the script. They'd say I was cold. Disconnected. Too sensitive. That I'd left them, not the other way around. Sure enough, an hour later Claire posted a photo on Instagram, her and Dad on the couch, last year's holiday photo, with the caption. Some people only show up when there's a gift involved. Wrap gift. Not us. We're about real love. 100 points. I almost laughed. Because in that picture, I was the one behind the camera. Holding the phone. Setting the timer. Taking the shot. Smiling like I belong. At 3:12 p.m. Dad finally called. Not a text. Not a voice memo. A full-blown call. Like he still thought his voice had gravity. I let it ring until it stopped. He didn't leave a voicemail. He called again. Then again. On the third attempt I let it go through, not because I wanted to talk, but because I wanted to hear how he'd spin this. Hello? I said, flat as drywall. There was a pause. So, this is what you do now? No. How are you? No. We didn't know. Just a statement layered with control. This is what I do now, I replied. You could have just talked to us. I did. You just didn't listen. Don't start with the drama. I almost laughed. Dad, you used my card to book a luxury chalet. Without asking. We thought you wouldn't mind. You also said I brought nothing to the table. That was a joke. A joke you made with a carving knife in one hand and a wine glass in the other. Silence. Look, son, you've always been sensitive. Ah. There it was. The pivot from denial to blame, classic Dad. I could feel him shifting in his recliner, probably wearing the same smug look he used when he told me that being a plumber wasn't real ambition. Do you even know how long that card's been active? I asked. He didn't respond. 2 years. You've used it to pay for golf trips, ski gear, and a box subscription Claire kept tagging like it was hers. All in my name. You never said stop. You never asked permission. Another silence. This one longer. We've supported you too. No, I said. You tolerated me. Until I became useful. That's not fair. No, fair is what I tried to be. And you called it weakness. After the call, I sat back on the couch. The radiator hissed softly. Outside, a snowplow scraped the street. Inside, my coffee had gone cold. I didn't reheat it. I just opened my notes app. And I started a new list. Not a list of things I did for them. Not a log of receipts or tax payments. Just a personal manifesto. One line at a time. Things I won't do anymore. I won't pay bills I didn't agree to. I won't fix things just to keep the peace. I won't respond to guilt that disguises itself as concern. I won't keep asking to be included by people who mock me when I show up. I won't let family be used as a leash. I won't trade silence for crumbs of approval. I won't answer calls that come only when something's broken. I won't keep trying to earn a place at a table that's been set to exclude me. And then one more underlined. I won't apologize for growing without them. At 6:23 p.m., Claire posted a new photo to her story. It was Dad, sitting on the couch, arms crossed, looking like someone had taken away his TV privileges. Caption: He hasn't said a word since this morning. This is what betrayal looks like. Betrayal. From the same man who called me a burden. From the same sister who used my name to book a vacation. Now I was the villain, because I stopped being a resource. At 7:04, Dad called again. This time, he didn't say hello. You done now? I didn't answer. You had your little tantrum. Now be a man and call the bank. I let that one sit. Then I said calmly, I am being a man. I just stopped funding boys who think they own me. And then I hung up. Didn't flinch. Didn't look back. Just turned off the ringer, stood up, and went back to my toolbox, something that had never lied to me, insulted me, or stolen my money. By the next morning, it wasn't just Mom, Dad, and Claire lighting things up. The whole extended family was now treating the group chat like a courtroom, and I was clearly on trial. Uncle Greg, who once borrowed my truck and returned it with a cracked tail light, opened with, I think it's time everyone acted like adults. Classic move, pretend neutrality while clearly implying I was the problem. Aunt Leanne, who hadn't texted me since 2019, after I didn't donate to her dog's GoFundMe, added, You should have come to us first. Family isn't disposable. Disposable? These people went on a vacation to Hawaii and forgot to invite me, while I was dog-sitting their Pomeranian. Claire, meanwhile, had gone full PR crisis mode. She posted a 4-slide Instagram story with beige backgrounds and a long cursive font, the kind influencers use after getting caught in something shady. This holiday was supposed to be about connection, not conflict. I won't name names, but some people just don't understand how hard Dad works to make us happy. Slide 2. It's easy to judge from the outside, but not everyone sees the full picture. Slide 3 had a photo of her and Dad clinking glasses from some previous dinner, with a filter so strong it looked like a Hallmark movie. Slide 4. Let's normalize choosing peace over pettiness. 2 hearts #family first. I stared at the screen. Claire had just publicly turned my boundaries into her victim narrative. She didn't even need to name me. Everyone who followed her knew. And the comments rolled in fast. OMG Claire, you deserve better, growing heart. Praying for your family, Dizzy. Some people can't handle seeing others' happy face with steam from nose. Yeah. That last one hit especially hard, because the only time Claire's ever been happy for me was when she thought she could take credit. At 10:32 a.m., the group chat got a message from Grandma. Yep. Grandma, who still calls me the helper instead of my name. Please don't bring this ugliness into the new year. It's Christmas. I almost typed. It was Christmas. Then Dad called me a burden. But I didn't. I knew better than to speak facts into a space built for fiction. I muted the chat and tossed my phone on the table. For the first time in 24 hours, I felt the silence again, but this time, it wasn't peaceful. It was raw. Not regret. Not guilt. Just the ache that comes from seeing exactly how far people will go to protect the version of you that benefits them. Then my laptop dinged. Instagram DM. I expected another passive-aggressive message or maybe some random classmate asking, Are you okay? But no. It was from Jamie. My cousin. Claire's older brother. The black sheep of the family before I apparently claimed the title. We hadn't talked in almost a decade, not since he moved out at 19 after a blow-up with Dad over money. His message was short. Just saw the stories. Proud of you. Another ping. You're not crazy. I left for the same reason. Let me know if you want to grab lunch sometime, my treat. I stared at the screen for a long minute. Not because I was shocked, but because I realized someone had been watching all along. And they'd seen everything. I hadn't thought about Jamie in years. He was always the quiet one at family events, the guy who stayed late to help clean but somehow got blamed for the mess anyway. The one who fixed things behind the scenes while Dad praised whoever made the most noise. He left when I was 16. No goodbye, no note, just vanished after a shouting match with Dad about respect and using people. I didn't get it back then. Now, I understood every decibel. We met at a diner the next day. Nothing fancy. Vinyl booths. Burnt coffee. Waitress named Deb who called everyone Han. Jamie was already seated when I arrived, stirring his tea like he was waiting for a storm. He stood up and hugged me. First hug I'd gotten in months that didn't feel like it came with fine print. You look good, man, he said, then sat down again. Better, actually. Thanks. Still got a pulse. He laughed. And then the conversation shifted like a gear finally locking in. They pulled the same thing on me, he said, unwrapping a sandwich. Maxed out my card, told me it was family survival, and then made it seem like I was selfish when I asked for help. I nodded. My stomach twisted. They ever pay you back? I asked. Jamie looked up. No. But they told Grandma I refused to help. That landed like a slap. So when she posted that ugliness line in the group chat. Yeah, he said. She wasn't talking about them. He paused. Then leaned forward. You want to know what really set Claire off last year? I nodded. She asked me to co-sign on a lease for some wellness cafe she wanted to open. I said no. She cried to Mom, who cried to Dad. 3 days later, I was blocked on everything. I blinked. Wellness cafe? He pulled out his phone and showed me a photo. Claire in front of a pastel-painted door with a fake flower arch sign read. Claire IDY, plant-based coffee and cleansing crystals. It flopped in 6 weeks. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my fork. She blamed me, he said, smirking. Said I jinxed it. We sat in silence for a bit, just absorbing the ridiculousness of it all. Then I asked the thing that had been circling in my brain for days. Do they even know what they lost? Jamie didn't answer at first. He just looked out the window, then back at me. Not yet. But they're about to. That night, I opened my banking portal again. Checked the settings. Re-reviewed every auto payment linked to my name. Then I found it, a recurring utility payment, for the house. I'd started covering it years ago after Mom called crying about a frozen pipe and not enough to cover both heat and food. I never told anyone. Just said it and forgot. But now, I clicked. Cancel. A pop-up appeared. This payment will stop as of next billing cycle. Good. Let them find out the same way they found out about the chalet. When the comfort goes missing and the silence that follows says, you're on your own now. Later that night, my phone pinged again. Jamie sent me a screenshot. It was from Claire's Facebook. A vague post, all lowercase, dramatic spacing. Some people only show up when they need something. But when you need them? Crickets. Underneath it? 2 likes. One from Grandma. One from Dad. No comments. No chorus of sympathy this time. The room was clear. I replied to Jamie with a thumbs up. Then added, let me know when you want that electrician hookup. Still got vendor discounts. His reply came fast. Hell yes. Claire's ex burned out his panel trying to install a sauna in his garage. She needs a new one. I smiled. Because in the end, family isn't who demands the most from you. It's who remembers to say thank you. Even when the lights are still on. The house went dark 4 days later. Not metaphorically. Literally. I got the first hint through Claire's Instagram. She posted a black screen with the caption, when life hits you with the plot twist you didn't ask for. Naturally, her followers thought it was a breakup. Someone commented, "Ugh, men are trash." Another said, "Take time for you, queen." But then Jamie texted, "Jamie, they just called me. No heat. No lights. Dad thinks it's a city outage." Face with tears of joy. I nearly dropped my coffee. Because I knew what they were about to learn. The outage wasn't from the city. It was from me. Hours later, the first call came. Dad? Didn't answer. Then Mom. Still no. Then Claire, who didn't even bother with a greeting. "You had no right to cancel the utilities." I took a deep breath and said calmly, "You were never paying for them. But we need them. Should have thought about that when you were celebrating in the Alps on my dime. That's different. That was a gift I never gave." She stammered, then tried the nuclear option. "You're punishing the whole family." "No. I'm just stepping away from a table where I was always the meal." Click. Later that evening, I got a group email. Subject line: "Moving forward as a family." Sent by Mom. You'd think it was an apology. It wasn't. It was a list of steps toward healing, which included open dialogue with no accusations, no more public shaming via Instagram, mutual financial transparency, and my favorite, everyone contributes, no exceptions, no names, no accountability. Just corporate-sounding nonsense designed to dodge the core issue. I'd left. And they'd lost their power. So I wrote back. Just one sentence. "This year, I'm choosing peace over performance." Attached was a screenshot of the bank app, a closed account labeled "Family Expenses." Then I posted a photo on my own feed. Just me, in my new apartment. A cozy Christmas dinner I made myself. A folded napkin. One plate. No noise. Caption: "Turns out, I do bring something to the table, just not yours anymore." It didn't go viral. Didn't explode with likes. But Jamie commented, "Best seat in the house." And that was enough.